9pillow.com to order your Snorease pillow and start sleeping all night long. That's the number 9pillow.com.
I'll show you just how cool scientists are. We study everything, that's why we're cool. And yes, most of us got high marks in school.
Well, some of us.
And proud. Paleoanthropology. How we
21 minutes past the hour. Time for our Geeky Science segment. And then right after the break at the bottom of the hour, we will be taking your calls and continuing on with the political news of the day. But, being a science geek, I just once a week have to take 6 minutes and share with you what I think are the coolest science stories out there right now. This one from Science Magazine, sciencemag.org. And I encourage you, if you like science, become a member of the AAAS, AAAS.org, I'm pretty sure is the website. Back in 1935, they note, in a rodent study, they found that something called CR, caloric restriction, extended the lifespan of rats. Now they've done a study, and it took some years, actually, to do the study, because they were doing it on primates. They were doing it on baboons, as I recall, and to see if this also works for, folks like us, primates. And I'll just give you a couple of quick quotes out of this. CR-induced metabolic reprogramming may be a key event in the mechanism of lifespan expansion, and it apparently produces a nutrient-responsive signaling molecules, and they identify the molecules SIRT number 1, mTOR, PCG1A, is it one of the aging genes, and CR. But here's the amazing thing. Here's what happened. They took these baboons, a group of them, and followed them throughout their lifespan. This was like a period of 10 years. And the improvements, the age-associated decline in muscle mass was attenuated, was reduced. Improvements in metabolic function, specifically insulin sensitivity, have been consistent and striking. Diabetes was prevented. Now, basically what this is caloric restriction would be for a human living on basically about 1,600 calories a day or less. And, enough to get you seriously skinny, but not starvation. We're not talking malnutrition here. The incidence of neoplasia, cancers, was reduced by 50% in the animals undergoing CR. Cardiovascular disease is a prevalent age-associated disorder in rhesus monkeys. It was rhesus monkeys that they did this with. The incidence of cardiovascular disease was reduced by 50% in the animals subject to CR. Brain atrophy. Animals subjected, this is a characteristic of human aging that's also reproduced in these mammals. Animals subjected to CR had statistically significant preservation of GM volume in subcortical regions, significantly modified the aging effect. Adult onset moderate CR, in other words, starting caloric restriction for adult animals, delays the onset of age-associated pathologies and promotes survival in primate species, so presumably us too. They got some just incredible pictures of these old monkeys, and the ones that were on caloric restriction look like they're young. Here's another story. This is shocking. Bisphenol A, BPA. We've been warned about this. Europe has banned it by and large. The Canadians have banned it for many things. Now we're discovering it's even worse than we thought. Women may want to reconsider that popular style accessory, certain hard plastic water bottles available in fashion coordinating colors. Science News writes, or sciencenews.org. In animal, fetal exposure to BPA is particularly risky, sometimes fostering brain, behavioral, or reproductive problems. Brain problems? We're finding 1 in 38 boys now is being born with autism. Now, they're not making that leap in this article. I just made that leap. But they're specifically identifying brain, behavioral, and reproductive problems. One of the most scary things was that exposure to BPH in women modifies a gene, the HOXA10 gene, which orchestrates the activity of thousands of downstream genes, permanently modifies it. It causes it to lose a methyl group, permanently altering its activity and rendering uterine tissue hypersensitive to the effects of estrogen. In other words, putting women at risk not only for cancer, but changing the cycle of ovulation and menstruation, which makes them less likely to be fertile. So it's modifying the fertility of women who are exposed to it and their daughters. This is pretty amazing stuff. And they're finding this stuff leaked out of everything. Based on such data, the House Committee on Energy and Commerce sent a letter on June 2nd to FDA Commissioner Margaret Hamburg asking the FDA to, quote, reconsider the Bush administration's position that BPA is safe at current estimated exposure levels, end quote. But it's still in our food supply. In fact, it's in practically anything that's packaged in plastic, or most things. Here's another one. They discovered the dragonfish, Malacosteus niger, can perceive red light at deep depths. They couldn't figure out why. They found that the chemical in its eye that allows it to see so well was chlorophyll, plant chlorophyll. So now they're trying to figure out a way. They found that with primates and presumably with humans, that putting chlorophyll drops in the eyes. Now, don't do this at home. They've got to figure out ways to do it that don't irritate and aren't toxic. I'll just read from the article. Administering chlorophyll to the eyes can double their ability to see in low light. The pigment absorbs hues in the red light that are normally invisible in dim conditions. And by the way, it's no surprise the U.S. Department of Defense is funding this research. And finally, zombie ants controlled by fungus. Yes, there is a fungus that takes over carpenter ants in the jungle and causes them to actually move down to lower areas where the fungus lives and then lock themselves into the fungus community and die there and become breeding places for the fungus. A fungus taking over the behavior of ants. Amazing. Google zombie ants. You'll be amazed. Coming up next, your calls and the news of the day. We'll be right back.